In the desolate world of the Mad Max universe, survival is a daily struggle against the elements, the scarcity of resources, and the ruthless gangs that roam the wasteland. In this harsh environment, one character has become synonymous with resilience, strength, and a fierce will to survive: Furiosa. Her story is one that has intrigued fans since her unforgettable introduction in Mad Max: Fury Road. But what led her to become the warrior we know? This is the story of Furiosa, a tale that takes us deep into the heart of the wasteland, exploring her origins, her battles, and the choices that shaped her destiny. Furiosa's early life was marked by loss and hardship. Born into a world where the strong preyed on the weak, she quickly learned that survival meant making tough decisions. As a child, she was kidnapped from the Green Place, a lush, fertile area that stood in stark contrast to the barren deserts that dominated the world. The Green Place was a haven, a place of life and hope. But for Furiosa, it became a distant memory, a dream that would haunt her for years to come. She was taken by a marauding gang led by the tyrant Immortan Joe, who ruled over a fortress known as the Citadel. It was here that Furiosa's life took a dark turn. At the Citadel, Furiosa was forced into servitude, a fate shared by many others who were captured by Immortan Joe's forces. The Citadel was a place of brutality, where the strong ruled through fear and violence. It was here that Furiosa began to hone her skills, learning to fight, to survive, and to resist the oppressive forces that sought to break her spirit. She became a warrior, a leader among the oppressed, and her determination to escape the Citadel and return to the Green Place grew stronger with each passing day. The dream of freedom became her driving force, and she knew that one day she would seize the opportunity to break free from her captors. Furiosa's chance for escape came when she was assigned a new role within the Citadel. Immortan Joe entrusted her with a mission to transport his prized possessions, the 5 wives, across the wasteland. These women were valued for their ability to bear healthy children, a rarity in a world ravaged by radiation and disease. But Furiosa had no intention of delivering the wives to their intended destination. Instead, she saw this as her opportunity to make a break for freedom, to lead the wives away from the Citadel and toward the Green Place, where they could all start anew. With the wives in tow, Furiosa set out across the desert, knowing that they would be pursued by Immortan Joe and his war parties. The journey across the wasteland was fraught with danger. Immortan Joe's forces were relentless, and the desert itself was unforgiving. Sandstorms, treacherous terrain, and the ever-present threat of ambush tested Furiosa's resolve at every turn. But she was undeterred. Her skills as a warrior and her deep knowledge of the desert gave her and the wives a fighting chance. Furiosa had spent years learning the lay of the land, understanding the patterns of the weather, and knowing how to avoid the patrols that roamed the sands. Her leadership was crucial in keeping the group alive as they navigated the perils of the wasteland. Along the way, they encountered other survivors, some of whom joined their cause, while others tried to betray them, lured by the promise of rewards from Immortan Joe. One of the most significant encounters during their escape was with Max Rockatansky, a former law enforcement officer turned lone wanderer, whose own journey of survival had led him into Furiosa's path. Initially, Max and Furiosa were at odds, both suspicious of each other's intentions. In the world they lived in, trust was a rare commodity, and survival often depended on looking out for oneself. But circumstances forced them to work together. With Immortan Joe's war parties closing in, they realized that their best chance of survival was to pool their resources and fight their common enemy together. Max's combat experience and resourcefulness complemented Furiosa's leadership and knowledge of the desert, making them a formidable team. As they continued their journey, Furiosa's bond with the 5 wives grew stronger. Initially, they were frightened and unsure of their future, but under Furiosa's protection, they began to see her not just as their leader, but as a symbol of hope. She inspired them with her bravery, showing them that they were not just pawns in a tyrant's game, but individuals with the power to take control of their own destinies. Each of the wives brought their own strengths to the group, and together, they formed a close-knit unit that was determined to survive, no matter the odds. The journey to the Green Place, however, took a devastating turn when they discovered that it no longer existed. The fertile land that Furiosa had dreamed of returning to had been consumed by the same decay that had ravaged the rest of the world. The realization was crushing. For Furiosa, it was a loss of a place she had longed for since childhood, a symbol of everything she had fought for. The wives, too, felt the weight of this revelation, as their hopes of finding safety and starting new lives were dashed. But in the face of this despair, Furiosa made a pivotal decision that would define her character. Instead of giving in to hopelessness, she chose to fight back. She proposed an audacious plan to turn around and take the fight directly to Immortan Joe. Instead of running from him, they would return to the Citadel, where they could seize control and create a new haven for themselves and the oppressed people who lived under Joe's rule. It was a plan born out of desperation, but also one of incredible courage. Furiosa understood that the Citadel was not just a place of power for Immortan Joe, but also a source of water, food, and other resources that could sustain a community. If they could take control, they could create a new green place within its walls. The return to the Citadel was a fierce and brutal battle. Furiosa and her allies faced overwhelming odds as they fought against Immortan Joe's forces. The war rigs, the massive vehicles armed to the teeth, became battlegrounds where every inch gained was paid for in blood. The battle was a testament to Furiosa's unyielding will, as she pushed through injuries and exhaustion, driven by her desire to free herself and the wives from Immortan Joe's tyranny. Max, too, fought alongside her, recognizing in Furiosa a kindred spirit, someone who, like him, had lost everything but still chose to fight for a better future. In the climactic showdown, Furiosa confronted Immortan Joe directly. The battle was not just a physical one, but a clash of wills. Immortan Joe represented everything that was corrupt and decayed in their world. The exploitation of the weak, the hoarding of resources, and the ruthless pursuit of power. Furiosa, on the other hand, embodied resistance, defiance, and the hope for a new beginning. In their final confrontation, Furiosa used her ingenuity and determination to overcome Joe, ultimately bringing an end to his reign of terror. With Immortan Joe defeated, Furiosa and the survivors returned to the Citadel as heroes. The people, who had long suffered under Joe's rule, welcomed them as liberators. For the first time in years, there was a sense of hope in the air. The Citadel, once a symbol of oppression, was now under the control of those who sought to create a fairer, more just society. Furiosa's journey had come full circle. She had returned to the place of her captivity, but now she was in a position to change it for the better. The story of Furiosa is one of resilience, leadership, and the indomitable human spirit. Her legacy is not just that of a warrior, but of a leader who inspired others to stand up against tyranny. The events of Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, are a prelude to the character we see in Mad Max, Fury Road, offering a deeper understanding of her motivations and the experiences that shaped her into the formidable force she became. Through her story, we see the importance of fighting for what is right, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Furiosa's journey is a reminder that in a world filled with darkness, there is always the possibility of light, as long as there are those willing to fight for it. The world of Mad Max is one where resources are scarce, and the remnants of humanity are locked in a constant battle for survival. In this world, Furiosa stands out not just for her physical strength, but for her moral fortitude. She is a character who refuses to be broken by the cruelty around her, instead choosing to rise above it. Her story is a powerful narrative of redemption and the quest for justice in a world that has lost both. As viewers, we are drawn to Furiosa not just because of her ability to fight, but because of her unwavering commitment to doing what is right, even when it comes at great personal cost. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, serves as both a standalone story and a critical piece of the larger Mad Max mythology. It enriches our understanding of the character and the world she inhabits. Through Furiosa's eyes, we see the struggles of those who are oppressed, the complexities of leadership, and the harsh realities of a world where every day is a battle for survival. Her story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring power of hope. As the credits roll on Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, we are left with a sense of both closure and anticipation. Furiosa's journey has been a long and arduous one, filled with loss, pain, and sacrifice. But it is also a journey of growth, empowerment, and ultimately, triumph. We know that her story does not end here. Furiosa will continue to fight, continue to lead, and continue to inspire those around her. In a world where survival is never guaranteed, Furiosa is a beacon of hope, a warrior whose legacy will endure long after the dust has settled.